Once upon a time, we heard about these ball gowns, pumpkin chariots, and wicked witches. They assembled in well-loved books with gold bindings passed from one generation to the next. We also heard fables about sleepless nights, teething, and backtalk. These were given from grandmother to me at the Thanksgiving table once upon a time. But most of all, princes, happily ever after, and something borrowed, something blue. Perhaps I shouldn't have believed in any of these, but I did, because never upon a time did I hear a fairy tale that started and ended with a mother in the trenches. Fairy tales like these don't live in books or conversation. They are too slippery for paper and too bitter for tongues. Instead, they simply ambush. But at the age of 49, I know them well. In fact, I wrote a chapter myself, and it sounds something like this. Once upon a time, in a home right next to yours, a mother hid in the backyard behind the large brown pots where her flowers used to grow. Things no longer bloomed here, despite how it looked from the street. Silently, her heavy tears fell, carving trenches in the mud toward the neighbor's picket fence. The fence was just high enough that they could not see her, and just thick enough that they could not hear her, and the only gate to safety was bolt-locked from the inside and lacquered with layers of hatred. The ogre kept the key to this gate in his breast pocket, where his heart was supposed to be. And while she wept, the ogre laughed loudly to let her know that the children were in danger. If she approached, he would put iron fists into walls again, or worse. Each day she trudged the fence line, knee-deep in mud that wished to swallow her, past the playset and the sandbox and the memories, all overcome with weeds. And at the far end, she paused with each pass, ever so briefly, to break off another splinter with her fingernails and drop it in the woods. Day after day, week after week, month after year after forever. One day, when the ogre was busily counting her gold, she led her children to that gap in the fence that was just big enough for them. 3 were through, 1 to go. The youngest gripped her mother with little fingers. The mother said, "I'll be right behind you, I promise." The child doubted her, but the mother had never lied, until now. The mother would never fit through a gap so small, but in the world she created for them, preparing for this very moment, Santa fits down the chimney. So of course she would follow. She pushed her child through and prepared for battle as the ogre approached. Unlike the other fairy tales, my story ends abruptly here. No heroes, no swords, no magic. There is a particular kind of mothering and unforeseen resilience required for those of us unfortunate enough to marry an abuser. And with it, a particular kind of emptiness that comes with cradling our children for protection rather than joy. Mothers like me wonder what happened to simple fairy tales like breakfast at the table together, holding hands at softball games, or Christmas. Mothers like me wonder what happened to the magic that only puts the children in the middle on movie nights, and long for peace enough to conjure up makeshift pageants with tutus in the garage. Mothers like me weep in total silence at the loss of happily ever after. Instead, mothers like me can't stop crying. At the sound of his tires on the driveway, we disappear. The end isn't coming for the tension the kids feel. Anger is punctuated by both shouting and silence. In homes with mothers like me, the children are afraid, and pretty soon they don't want to leave their rooms either. There are no pageants, no softball, and they eventually hide behind flower pots too. But in my fairy tale, I was brave enough to fashion a heart-shaped shield big enough to protect us all because no prince was ever coming. Please, listen to one mother like me, one voiceless mother like me, because in truth, there is a silenced army of us. And also remember this: someday, one of my children may marry one of your own, and together they will create your grandchildren and mine. They will love those grandchildren unconditionally, wielding strength and hope, and perhaps even whistling a happy tune every once in a while. And they will know how to do all of this because I taught them with absolute grace, despite being left to do battle wearing only glass slippers in a foxhole.